Hi, I'm Mike Harrington, and in 2014, I embarked on a health journey resulting in my losing over 200 pounds on my own. Since then, I've been sharing my story and have become an advocate for healthy living. Welcome to Mike Inspires Me, a podcast show about health, wellness, and amazing people to inspire you to take charge of your life and your health. Hey, I'm impressed. Here I am back again as promised. We have now gone through 3 of the 7 key things I did to set myself up for success with my 200-pound weight loss. And last week, we talked about the importance of self-motivation and self-talk and how that helped me through my journey and still helps me. Today, part 4, we will be talking about focused on / association with the end goal. And that's how I have it written in there. So basically, we're talking about what I focused on and how I associated the goal in my mind to help me move along. So in the article, it says, I associated my losing all of the weight with winning the lottery. In other words, if someone told you that if you walk every day and cut back on what you eat gradually for a year, you'd get $10 million. So I kind of had that mindset like, it was like a bet. Now, of course, I wasn't getting any money at the end. And actually what I found at the end, it was worth far more than that. But that helped me at least kind of say, all right, let me go at this, let me behave as if somebody was going to give me $10 million. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but look, I wanted to succeed at this. And whatever it takes, I was willing to do. And so that would help me kind of keep a positive focus because I knew there would be challenges ahead, as there were. And so what helps me pick it up every time is like, okay, Mike, you want that $10 million, don't you? I kept saying that to myself. Let me continue with the article. It is that mental association which gave me the drive to push myself when I didn't always feel like it. There we go. All I could think about was being normal sized back then, okay? We'll talk about that because I have changed in my thinking over time. Let me continue. And in the end, I found that being healthy was even better than having $10 million. So there you have it. And I do literally remember when I got to the point that I felt I was done, which is, and I'm saying it that way because I didn't know where I was supposed to land. When I finally got to the point where I said, okay, I'm going to stop focusing on weight loss. Okay. When I realized I was going to start maintaining, I remember I told Terry, this is even better than winning the lottery. So it was an interesting shift. And it was good that I made that association because I did really think about that at times. And it's funny, I guess I got to start using that with some of my other things. In fact, as I think about my journey, there's a lot of things that I probably should employ in my business and other areas of my life for the goals. You'd think I'd be good at it, but hey, it's easier said than done. But that's a good point, right? And it's the point that a lot of times when there's things that you need to do, or you have to do, or you should do, you gotta look at it 2 ways, okay? You can say, well, I can keep procrastinating on it, and then I can either get desperate because I have to do it, or just avoid it and look someday and wish I had, looking back and regret never making the change. or you can just deal with it and stop wanting it. So let's use weight loss because, hey, that's what we're talking about. So, I had to kind of look at it like, if I, at the time when I first started thinking about really getting serious, I was in my early 40s, and I was like, okay, yeah, I don't do this now, it ain't getting easier. All right. Physically, life. And, part of me had wished that I could take a year off from work and just focus on that. But that certainly wasn't a reality. And I wasn't going to get on The Biggest Loser. Actually, I don't even know how much that was going on. I think it was, but I wasn't really interested in that. But I did look into programs. I had prior looked into surgery. But when I finally committed to saying, all right, I'm going to just like figure this out on my own, that was a big decision. And, because a lot of us sit back and say, well, I'm going to do this, but this happened or that happened. And I got the mindset of, well, the this and the that's and all those other things are not stopping this train. And it really comes down to what's motivating you. Because if what's in front of you is like, well, if what's in front of you is a donut and you're like, well, I can always lose weight later. I mean, I get it because I'm still that guy. But what keeps me here is realizing that where I was before, and we're not just talking about the weight, it's bigger than that, my transformation. And it took me not too long to figure that out, that it wasn't the weight, but it was all about what I had to focus on to get there and that end goal. Okay. Because you have to kind of, like I said, I didn't know exactly where I was going to go. I just knew 450 pounds, whatever I was at the time when I made the decision. Officially, when I started on using MyFitnessPal, I was 403, but I had lost some by then because I'd had some medical things that I was working on with the doctor. At that point, I really tried to think about, okay, if I'm going to do this, number one, how am I going to do this without stopping? Because I know once you start losing momentum, it's a slippery slope. Just like I've gotten now. I got a little, like everyone else through this pandemic, I've had my struggles. You guys, you've seen me post stuff. I've had financial problems that have happened. I've had challenges. Let me say financial challenges. I've had health issues of my own that I'm dealing with. Minor stuff, nothing for you guys to worry about, but some things. And I've had stress from everything, work. We had deaths in our family. It's been a rough year for us all. And I'm not Superman, although some people do call me that. It's my wife's family. Her mom and Terry always call me Superman. I struggle. And because that's how I got to where I was in the first place. All right. So let's talk about what the difference is. But I struggle. I still want to go to food when I get stressed. And it's always around me because I don't expect my wife to have to not have those things. It's not fair. I still love cookies and ice cream. She talked to me tonight and we're making a commitment. She's trying to get healthier too. But I can't just tell her, well, no, Terry, you can't have these things because I'll eat them up. So the point is, and I'm getting a little off track, but a great subject to talk about, is that I always kept that goal because even now I look back on that goal and it's like, Mike, you're slipping a little bit. Just remember everything you did. And so I haven't lost sight of that $10 million, the $50 million, the 200-pound weight loss was. I have not lost sight of that. And I'm not letting go of it. Okay. Some people win $10 million and they blow it, right? When you think about it, there are similarities. Okay. Some people win losing 200 pounds and they go and eat buffet. And I certainly have. Okay. And so that's when I realized I got to work my tuchus off Sorry for people who don't speak Yiddish, means your butt. But I have to work my tuchus off to get back what I've, to get back all the work I've done, to lose the weight, or, because even now I'm facing a slightly higher cholesterol level. I just got my blood work this week, and it's just barely over the line. Doctor wants to put me on medication. And that's, again, focused on that end goal. No, man, I didn't do this and lose 200 pounds to go back on medication. I've already been there. And fortunately, he listened to me, and I was like, look, dude, I didn't call him dude. Look, doc. It was actually all through email too, by the way. I first told the nurse I wasn't getting on the medication. But anyway, good side story. I'd like to tell more about that. What I focused on back still in my rear view mirror. I didn't come all this far to start taking meds again for something that I'm causing. Okay. And the doctor said, well, if you do all this stuff, you still may find you may have that. I said, well, then we'll talk then. But and then in the meantime, I know I've not been good the past, I don't know how long, months with my eating. And I'm going to do that first. I'm going to change. And Terry and I have already been talking about it anyway. I feel sluggish anyway with it. My weekends have gotten out of control. I'm pretty good overall. I mean, I probably slipped from my 80-20 rule of 80%, clean eating. But listen, I'm a human being. I'm being honest with you. But I haven't lost what I focused on. I haven't lost that end goal and what I associate it to. It's so important. And, it's like you don't want to have an end goal in your mind. I mean, we could talk about it the opposite way. All right. You could look at this. This is actually a great. All right. I'm terrible. I'm going all over the place. This is a great analogy. It just popped in my mind. So I was I'm not going to name his name, having a conversation with a well-known doctor friend of mine. Okay. You probably know who he is, or you'll be able to guess if some of you who know him. Anyway, we were talking, corresponding. I had saw a headline recently from USA Today that said something about weight loss may not be in your control. And I wasn't comfortable with that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's easy, and I'm not saying that, oh, you're responsible. Okay. And that's where he and I went back and forth. And I just said to him, no, the thing is that people tend to take the message from that as, well, there's nothing I can do. And that's not what I teach. I'm here to teach you there are things you can do, but I'm also not here to teach you about the bigger picture. Well, I am here to teach you about the bigger picture. And so he mentioned something to me earlier in the correspondence about, well, people can climb Mount Everest, but that doesn't mean, or some people can. Some people can climb Mount Everest, but that doesn't mean that people should have to do it. Okay. And he was basically, and he said, as you well know, and he was comparing like the weight loss that I did, that, okay, some people can do it, but the majority can't and haven't been able to. That's where I get uncomfortable with saying can or can't. You can. And I said, let me tell you how they can. Something's better than nothing. Like my dear wife always says, something's better than nothing. And I teach you, look, I'm not telling you to go out and lose 200 pounds. I'm telling you, how about lose 1 pound 200 times? What? Think about this. I'm not telling you to go and associate that goal with a mountain. Look at it as a step, but keep doing it. Don't get discouraged. Whatever it is. I get discouraged all the time, even in this. My mic inspires me. I'm not getting people listening. Nobody wants to hear what I got to say. Should I even be wasting my time anymore on this? I know I can't give it up. And I haven't given up my end goal because I made a promise that I was going to work the rest of my life to inspire people to take charge of their lives and their health like I did, the gift I was given by God. And I may sound crazy saying that, but you know what? That's what I believe. that it's my purpose. And I want people to understand I'm not pushing any of that on you, including the health. I'm not pushing the health stuff on you. I talk about it. I may preach about it, but I'm not telling you you have to do it. Your life and your health is your choice. And if you want some of this, you got to have a good attitude about that end goal. You have to look forward to it. And the work, I mean, it sounds crazy, but, and I talked about this, I think it was last week or one of the weeks, that, like with exercise, I mean, that's another association thing here. If you associate exercise as punishment, I don't know, maybe that works for you. But how long do you think you're really going to sustain that? Maybe you like punishment. Okay, well, then you like it. But the point is, you got to have what in your mind, then it's a positive thing, right? And that's what I'm getting at, is that we're not attracted to things that we don't like. Unless you're a masochist, right? But anyway, I don't want to go on that path. I'm looking over here at my board because I thought I wrote a note on this. I'm losing track, but it's just a really interesting thing that we set out on a goal, and most of the time, like if it's, I shouldn't say most of the time, a lot of times what's driving us is something negative. Okay? Because, I mean, and you would think, of course, right, Mike? I'm not going to go losing weight because, it's always something like my clothes aren't fitting. Well, that's a negative, right? Because you're disappointed in yourself. Well, I've gotten too fat. I can't fit my clothes. Lord knows I've been through and still go through that sometime, and, or it's your doctor telling you got a health issue and you need to do something about it and you're going to be on medication. Well, so there you go. I'm doing that now. But I see that as positive. You know what that means to me? So the work I'm going to have to do to clean up the crap that I did over the past several months, which basically means just I'm not going on a diet. I'm just going to go back to regulating the way I should eat and have been eating clean, and just trying to make more of the clean eating and less of the processed foods and stuff that I've been overindulging. And heck, I even overindulge in health food. I eat too many nuts and, all kinds of other things, but in large amounts, they're not healthy. Point is, I look at it as a positive thing. I associate it again back with my $10 million. And my $10 million also included, I don't need to take medication. I mean, right? Who wants to have to take medication? Well, again, we could probably go there. There might be some. I guess it depends on what kind of, quote, medication we're talking about. Nonetheless, I realize that a lot of these steps can be applied to different things in my life. And so the book that I keep talking about, and honestly, guys, I don't care if you should start asking me, when's it coming? I need a push. I need help. Because my association with it, two things. One, the end goal to me seems like, well, nobody ever makes money with a book. And that's probably true. Although who knows, I could write the bestseller. I need help. I don't have the money right now to pay somebody to help me. And so I'm trying to figure out on my own. And the association with the end goal isn't much, not enough to motivate me. And I got to apply that. The $10 million is, in this case, may not be $10 million, but it may be, hey, I've got a book now and I can now get more speaking gigs, which I haven't had any. I've done speaking, but not paid yet. And, a book certainly could help that. It may not be $10 million, but my $10 million comes while I'm helping people. I got something I can put in your hands, a tool, a guide. I can't all be there for every single one of you physically, but I can put a book in your hands and give you a tool. And maybe that's what I need to do with my $10 million association. Now, I am asking if anybody can help me, please. I know there's a lot of people out there who listen, who do have involvement. So, but I also know that there's costs involved. So I'm not going to be beg, borrow, and stealing here. That's not the way I work. So I'm going to, as I always do, I figure it out on my own. I've been trying with the help of others, but I'm going to make it happen. Come, you know what, or high water, right? I'm gonna make it happen because it's something that's important that people understand what I did, how I did it, my life story, and what drove me to where I was, and that association that I have with that end goal is key here. Is that I have to associate that book with something positive. I have to look at it like a $10 million. Like I said, not literally, although, boy, that would be great too. You know, the business I'm in is not an easy business, okay? Because I'm essentially in the health and weight loss business. I could be marketing as a motivational speaker, but I want to help people with their health and living. And maybe I'm more of a life coach. I don't know. But the point is, I'm going to figure that out too. But back to what we were talking about, associating my weight loss with winning the lottery, something I kept reminding myself that got me up each day and saying, okay, Mike, one step. Because you would figure it out too. If I said, I want you to, I don't know, walk from New York City to LA, and I'll give you whatever, right? Amount of money, and I offered you $10 million. I'm sure you'd probably try to figure out how to do it if you are capable of walking. All right. I said $10 million. New York. I said New York or Boston, either one, right? Still, that's a long way. You got plenty of time. You can do it within, I don't know, a year. Maybe that's it. Give it a year. So I don't know. But anyway, the point is, I'm not giving that out, by the way, guys, because certainly if I had that kind of money, this would be a different show. Anyway, just ending on a light note, just to wrap it up. It is very important for you to realize that your mental outlook, what you think about with your goal is what's going to drive you every day, and really think about it and examine it and see if you can even fake it to make it, and give yourself some sort of positive thing so that when you do reach that goal, you'll always, like me, look back on it too and say, I'm glad I did that. And that way you don't look back on your life and regret it. And I don't regret it. I'm 51 years old and I turned my life around at 44 and I have no regrets about any of it. And I'm so glad. And yes, there's times I wish I had done it earlier. Maybe that's the only regret. But when I'm 80, 90, 100, whatever I make it to, I'm always going to be proud that I did this. And I'm always going to be proud that I used my techniques that I'm teaching you now to get me where I am. I hope you're doing well. Stay awesome. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mike Inspires Me podcast. Stay tuned for future episodes and check out some of the past ones you may have missed. For more information on me and my story, go to MikeInspiresMe.com. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Mike Harrington Official and on Twitter at Mike Inspires Me. Stay healthy and stay awesome.